Welcome back to another episode of the Downsizing Roadmap podcast with your hosts, Jody Roscoe and Heather Fisher. We're talking about all things downsizing, from our own experiences with clients to guest experts. Let's make downsizing easier, one conversation at a time.
Hi, welcome to Downsizing Roadmap podcast. If you're downsizing and that involves a move, we're going to talk about 10 often overlooked steps that if you do them and you take a listen, it will make a much easier move.
Yeah, I think people, you always are like, what's the plan?
Yes.
And I think sometimes people step into it without a plan because these are things that you might not even think of. But if you do these, they will make it easier for you as you walk through the process.
Yeah, after helping, tons of clients through these steps, they're just things, that we've noticed or we've seen people do well or seen people or ourselves forget it during moves. And, it just can be a stressful time. There's a lot of moving parts and logistics involved and just some ways to make it a little easier. Yeah.
So let's start. Step one, make a moving decisions log. So that can be a notebook that you actually write in, or that could be notes on your computer or a file, on your computer, whatever. But make it where everything lives in the same place. Because if you start having, what are your paint colors or what's going into donation or what are the measurements of my sofa or, there's all kinds of things, utilities, who do I need to shut off? What is it? When is it? You can create a little book where you have everything, worked out, or you can put it on a spreadsheet depending on, what you love. Heather's a spreadsheet person.
Yeah.
But what you don't want is just a whole bunch of like sticky notes and scraps of paper and, sticky note queen that I am. But we bought like a whole book that last year trying to get rid of our sticky notes, remember?
Oh yes, the erasable notebook didn't work so well. No. That was not a good system.
We tried, but
yeah.
We just filled up our notebook and then, whatever.
Still didn't work.
Back to
got a little too smudgy because we have too much going on.
But on this, you can create one space where this is the project. It's one project and it all goes into one book or, one spreadsheet or one file, electronic file. And that way, when you're looking for things, you know exactly where to look for it. And so it's not, where did I write that down, or what piece of paper did I write that down on, or what?
Yeah, lean into how you normally handle things. If that is on paper, then get that binder or notebook and organize it that way. If you tend to do more things online or electronically, having a separate folder in your email box that you can pull relevant emails into one folder that have to do with your move, or that spreadsheet. You can have different tabs for different parts of the organizing. Mm-hmm. We found it really helpful when we moved. We had links to things. We were building a home, so it was a little bit different, but links to things we had purchased, so we could easily find the dimensions of things. So we just had those links to where we had found them online, or the colors of things, or the names of things. So however you lean into organizing, lean into that heavily through this process.
Yeah, you can do, by room, and what are you going to need? Do you need curtains in that room? What do you need? And then once you figure out what it is, then you can put what that is there that you actually decided on, and all of those things. So you can make a section where you have unmade decisions or questions that you have, and, just go through it so that you continually know, oh, did I answer that one, and what that is. And so, yeah, you can get that organized. You could even do it in a little organizer, and you could have something that had dates on it too, so that you could, really give yourself a good picture of what that's going to look like.
Yeah, for sure. A combination of all of those things can really make this easier.
Okay, so that's one.
Yes.
2, take your room measurements before you declutter. So if you know where you're going next before you have started to declutter, take measurements of, and we're talking about the rooms that you're going to move your things into, and then the bigger pieces of furniture is really what we're kind of talking about. If you're early stages and you're just decluttering a lot of little things, that's okay. We don't need measurements of all of that stuff. But what we're talking about is, a lot of times what we find is when you're moving to a smaller space, your scale of your furniture is different. in a bigger house. Your bigger sofa may not fit in the, in the new house. You may have to scale down your sofa size, or maybe bed sizes. Maybe your king bed's not going to fit in your second room, second bedroom or whatever that, if you have two of those or whatever. So you want to make sure when you're moving that you don't find out the day that you get there with all of the stuff that isn't going to fit.
Yeah, people often look at the decisions as what do I like the best, what is my favorite, which is, definitely one layer to look at it, but you also want to be adding in that which one will work best for me in my new space. A cabinet that might have just been an extra thing in the corner of a room might work perfectly in a little alcove you have in your new spot for different storage than you used it before. So just trying to get that overview. We met with clients recently that had their new floor plan and their spreadsheet going, and they were just so on top of it, well ahead of the move, that it'll be so smooth for them.
Yeah, and if this sounds totally overwhelming to you and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible, there are people who do this. So reach out to us if you have questions about vendors or people who can do this, but there are definitely people who can help you take a look at what your new floor plan is going to look like, give you a kind of visual of what that looks like and what your furniture might look in that new space. And so let us know if you need that, downsizingroadmap.com/help. So.
Yeah, and we talk about the definition of downsizing, and it's really managing your time and your things and your space, your finances to work best for you and the phase that you're in. So that's what we're talking about. It's never just do I like this? It's do I love it? And does it work for me? And that 2-layer, and that's going to look different based on what your new space is and what new life you thought about back in that dream it stage.
Yeah. So we do want to measure the furniture though before we make final choices on what we're actually going to bring.
Don't give away that love seat when you may
need it instead of the big couch.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. Number 3, create a no pack zone. And so what we're talking about is a designated table or a room or some boxes that that you can place stuff those boxes won't get packed with the mover, or you can, or put it on a table where stuff isn't going to go with the mover. And that would be, document your documents, like your passport and your medical documents and any of that kind of stuff that you don't want to be packed and then you're going to need it after it's been packed. Medications, daily toiletries, things that you use, in a daily, your checkbook, your extra, chargers, cash, things that you use all the time. You want to have those all in one place. And in the end, you're going to want to have them at the house the first day.
It's like the last out of your current house and the first in, and the first to be, set up or unpacked so that you can wake up that next morning after moving day and it may not be fully unpacked, but you have those essentials to start your day. To have your medication, to have the toiletries that you need without having to kind of half unpack 10 boxes to find the one thing you're looking for. So that's just a little pre-planning of kind of that survival bag of what you'll need first. And like Jody said earlier, if that's overwhelming, there are resources that you can hire to pack your home and get you set up for, and their goal is to get you set up to be able to wake up the next morning and have, be able to cook breakfast and, have what you need, even if you're not fully unpacked yet before they finish.
Yeah. And I think that this is really important if you're not having that somebody who do that whole thing for you, but if you're only just having movers come and pack you, because the movers are just going to pack whatever's around in whatever box, and then you won't know. If you're doing all of your own packing yourself, then that's a little bit different, but you still want all of this stuff in one box in one place so that you know where it is, and so that you can access it right away. And so putting it in one area is good. And that's important if you're packing yourself or not. But if you're not packing yourself, it's super important because you will have no idea what box it was in because you didn't pack any of them.
Right. This is oftentimes, a box or two that gets put in your car and taken versus the movers putting it on a truck. That way you have no worries if that gets delayed, if anything happens. It's like your carry-on bag when you travel.
Take a couple, an outfit or two. I think the documents are the ones that sometimes get packed up somewhere that people don't think about. Like, oh, wait, I need to make sure that my passport and all of that stuff doesn't get packed up. So, So create a little no pack zone and put all those things in one place so that you can last out and first in to the house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, step 4. Do a pre-move pantry freezer kind of inventory. So people lose a lot of money and a lot of food when they move sometimes because it's hard to make that move when you haven't really kind of used it up a little bit. So 2 or 3 weeks out, just start, eating everything out of the freezer and eating everything out of the pantry or going through the pantry if stuff's expired, if you haven't done that in a while. Make sure you do that. Maybe, the neighbors can use, some of the things if you have too much stuff and you don't want to move it, or, there's always the food pantry. So we donate to the food pantry often. And so either way, but just make sure that you're, spending those 2 to 3 weeks just kind of not buying new and eating up what you got.
Yeah, it can add up to a couple $100 worth of unused food that goes to waste, and especially that freezer stuff that is hard to move in a timely fashion, so it's not thawing and making that a priority. So
especially if you're moving far, like you're not taking it.
Right, exactly. And even a local move, just that timing of how all of that works, unless you're doing it all yourself, and have that access, it can be tricky. So don't, stop that stockpiling of lots of extra, even a couple months leading up to it. If you have that time, maybe don't have so much in the freezer.
Canned goods.
Yeah, if you run out of those condiments, do you need to open a new one just quite yet, or can you hold off and just trying to get through that move?
Yep. Okay, step 5, schedule donation pickups earlier than you think. We love this step. We talk about this all the time, whether you're moving or not. There's no better way to get yourself motivated than knowing somebody's coming to pick up stuff.
Yeah.
And you've scheduled it, and you better have something to put out there.
Yeah, and twofold. Definitely that is an advantage. It gives you the motivation, but also it can be very frustrating if you've gotten that motivation and you have this big pile of donations and you're ready for it to leave the house and get out of your way, and then you call and they're scheduling 2 to 4 weeks out, and we're coordinating that lots of times, and that is the time frame.
Yeah, it is.
So you really want to pre-plan that, even if you're not quite ready with your pile. Get it on the calendar, use that as your motivation, and then have it at a time that works for you, that's convenient for you, before you have to be out of the house. You could run your clock out and need to be out if you've sold your house, and not have that on the calendar to line up correctly.
Yeah. And you can do this, like you said, much earlier than you think. If you think I'm going to downsize in a year or two, you can start that now. And once a month or, every other week or whatever, you can, schedule somebody to come and pick things up and just start slowly, getting that stuff out of the house so that when you actually are ready to make the move, it's not so overwhelming.
Yeah, it gives you space to be able to pack the things you are taking because you have more empty space. It gets it, out of your decision. You don't have to continually look at things and redecide on it. So much benefit for starting earlier than you think, and just keep those pickups scheduled on the calendar until you're done.
Yeah, and then inevitably there is going to be stuff that it won't go to donation when you make the move. So some things to think about also scheduling is you may want to schedule a junk guy that might come out and do like a bulk trash pickup, or if your city does bulk trash pickup or whatever that is, schedule that so that you can get things actually cleaned out because there will be things that aren't donatable that are just actually trash, which we don't like to think, oh my gosh, we're living with trash, but we are.
Well,
We've seen that a lot.
I think that there's a layer of stuff that I would chalk up to delayed decisions, but we all end up with, the paint cans and the chemicals for the lawn and all of those things, and you're just not sure how to dispose of them, so they're in the garage. But if you're making a move, that all needs emptied. So well ahead of time, look into what your city offers for a drop-off for those, because sometimes they are only once a month or once
hazardous
every
waste.
few weeks to go to the hazardous waste. And
or you can only bring 6 cans a time, or there's definitely some rules sometimes about that.
Yeah, so just gathering that information and kind of spreading that out so it's not a last minute scramble where you end up, taking it with you to a house that you may not even be doing yard work anymore, or things like that.
Yeah.
Just trying to plan out those more obscure things to get rid of.
And while you're planning things on your schedule, think about what your final cleaning looks like in your house, because that's like the third, the next step. So it's, to ask your family what they want, figure out what you're taking, ask your family what they want, figure out what you can sell, donate, trash, and then once the house is empty, it needs to be cleaned. And are you doing that, or do you need somebody to do that? And if you need somebody to do that, again, they're probably several weeks out, so you're going to want to find somebody to help you with that. And again, we have resources locally, or we can help you find something if you need that. But that is the path, and so there's always the clean out and then cleaning up.
Yeah,
right.
Clean out, then cleaning.
And so if that's something you want to do, great. And cleaning your house at the end when it's empty is totally different than cleaning your house when you live there, because when you're cleaning your house when it's empty, you're wiping down the baseboards and wiping
ceiling fans.
Yeah, ceiling fans and the grates that are on the wall, and wiping out all of the cabinets and all of the things that we don't necessarily take everything out of the cabinets and wipe them out while we live there. And when we move furniture, it's dustier than we expected it to be. And so you definitely need to do a clean before you move out. And so just think about what that could look like and whether you need to hire somebody to do it, and get that on the schedule early, just so that's off your plate too.
Yeah, absolutely. So step 6, photograph every space before you start packing. Several reasons to do this. It creates an inventory for insurance. So if anything happens during the move, you've got that. It helps you recreate the meaningful setups if you really like the way a room functions, or
a bookcase looks.
Yeah, things like that you are going to try to recreate in your new space. It gives you, that touch point to easily do that. And, emotionally, it gives you those memories. And, if you're listing your home for sale and, the realtor will have the photographer come out, but we'll have asked you to clear all of those personal items off of the surfaces. And so those photos may not hold that same memory meaning if the family photos are off the wall and your favorite books aren't there, your favorite blankets, because you did the right thing for listing photos. So this would be before you start decluttering those surfaces. Give yourself that visual memory of how you lived in the house as a family.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. Yeah. And then you can make, a digital folder system. You can have the kitchen and the office and the bedroom, whatever, with those photos if you're really inclined to get yourself,
Yeah. Back to that organization from step 1.
Yeah. Get organized around it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So step 7 is, we talked about this a little bit, but it's, an arrival box. And this is those items that will just give you that sense of calm as you come in. It's not necessarily the most important things like documents and things like that, but is it your coffee maker? Is it, the coffee filters to get that started?
Yeah, coffee maker, coffee filters, and coffee.
Yes.
Right?
All
paper
the things.
towels, paper plates, paper napkins, paper towels, hand soap, all that, those kind of things.
Yeah. Maybe a general cleaning spray to just wipe down countertops as you're moving in, if that needs done. Some snacks and water bottles, just things to make those first hours before everything's unpacked just easier for you.
Yeah, if there's not overhead lights in your bedrooms, bring a lamp, so that you have light wherever you're going. Throw that in the car, whatever, just kind of get that important stuff over there first.
Some trash bags.
Yeah, sheets.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to get your house set up quickly. So
yeah, it can be a long day on moving day, and when you finally the boxes start coming in the house, you still want to go to bed without it being midnight, and so
you don't want to be searching for the sheets wherever they got put. At least one set of sheets in your comforter, and so you can make your bed and go to bed.
Yeah, there's always tomorrow for all of the other tasks, but just let yourself have that rest at the end of the day and to wake up for whatever that morning routine is that will make it easier for you to get started again.
Right. Maybe a cozy blanket for the couch when you're tired and you want to sit down, or, whatever that is that makes you feel comfortable and kind of makes you feel a little bit less overwhelmed. And again, there's people that can help with all of this move stuff too. But I would combine this box, the coffee maker, paper plates, all of, with that no pack zone box. And that's the stuff that you want to make sure gets into the house first.
Yeah, that you have eyes on and see where it is. So step 8, this is notifying your life circles, not just your utilities.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you'll have to change your utilities and all of that, and your mail, but also make sure that you're doing that everywhere. You're telling your doctors what your new address is, your insurance company, your financial advisor, all of the people that you deal with, your subscriptions that you have, that they, don't start mailing those to your old address. And there's just a lot of things that you need to change and kind of let everybody know what's going on there.
Yeah, we see that often. People remember to change their mail, but they forget they have a preset monthly delivery of any, fill in the blank, and they forget. And suddenly their dog food from Chewy is at the old house or things like that. Their subscriptions go to the wrong house because we don't think of all of those. So
don't forget your driver's license and your voting, you have to change where you're voting, your voter registration too. So there's just think about all of the things that happen in your life. If mail starts coming, you need to notify all of them, because that's who knows where you are.
Yeah.
So whatever that mail is, they will forward your mail and notify them, but you might also just want to notify them directly too. I think that's easier, your bank and all of the things.
Yeah, and that forwarding runs out, I think, after like 6 months if you don't renew it. So catching those as things get forwarded that you might have missed, just make sure you follow through and get that changed either online in your account or whatever you need to do.
Yeah, we had the people that lived in our house before. A year later, we got their whole packet of season tickets to the UD game.
They were wishing they had that one. So
I know them, and I know where it is. So I'm like, hey, I got something you might want. But, that's just something that comes once a year, so it's not something they thought about.
At least you didn't just send them a selfie from their
Here
seats.
I am.
Are these yours? Thanks.
Yeah. So you'll find things that happen that slip through the cracks, but do your best to figure out what that looks like, and especially anything that, any retirement funds, any of that stuff that might roll over to you want to make sure that they have your most current address for any of those things.
Yeah, I would say expand this as well to just your circle of your people. That could be as simple as looking through your Christmas card list and, who do you mail to? Do you need to send them something, and just update that change of address so that they know you've made a move as well.
Yep. Okay. Number 9, plan a goodbye walkthrough, not for your house, but for you, right? So, walk room by room, just kind of have your little memories there. We did this. I was telling Heather with our house. The kids that's where we brought them from the hospital. And so we all just cheersed with our sparkling apple juice and, had a couple memories and it's empty and it feels weird. And it's okay. You can have those memories. I still have the memories, even though I don't live there anymore. So it's not like it was, super, super sad to me. It can be sad, but it just felt like, an acknowledgement of, the joy that you got to have in that house, and, give yourself a little bit of time to just have those feelings and walk through and give yourself that closure.
Yeah, it's allowing time for that pause on what can be really busy days.
Yeah.
You don't want to suddenly
and then you're gone.
Rush out of the house thinking you're just taking some boxes, and then you're like, oh, wait,
that was the last time I was in the house.
Yeah, so just planning a little bit of, stopping the rush for a few minutes and saying whatever goodbye you want to, and thinking about the happy times, and, just taking that last look around.
Yeah, and if you raised your kids there and your kids can come, that's always great.
Yeah.
I think it should be a happier thing than a sad thing, but it should be a way to just acknowledge and say, give yourself closure around the house.
Yeah. Don't let it rush by and then you lose that opportunity.
Yeah, and what we find is that actually shortens the emotional adjustment time in the new house, because you've actually intentionally done that, and so it's not like you have as much longing for the old house because you've spent some time doing it.
Yeah, it's not quite as abrupt of a transition.
Yeah. Okay, and the last one is to create a 7-day post-move plan after you've moved, right? To try to avoid the burnout of getting your house, the new house, because, moving is only half of it. Now you're in this new house and nothing's where it's supposed to be, right? And so it's a 2-step process for moving. One is getting it out, and one is getting it back in and creating the home that you want now for your future. So day one, on moving day, you want to set up your bedroom completely, so that you can, you have lamps on your nightstand, and you have your bed and your sheets and your pillows, and you can go to bed whenever you're exhausted by whatever has happened that day.
Yeah, it's that sanctuary where you can get rest and close the door from what other tasks might be left on the other side, and you just have that space so that you can sleep peacefully.
Yep. And I would, that first box that we talked about, I would get that set up too. I would get the coffee maker set up. I would, those things that you think you're going to really need first right away in the kitchen, I would get that also set up. Yeah. But day 2 is, the kitchen is after you've gotten, your stuff that you absolutely need to get moving.
Coffee. It's pretty much coffee.
It's
Jenny.
coffee. So maybe it's tea. But anyway, then you want to set up your kitchen because you want to be able to cook. And then day 3, you can do your bathroom. So that all of the things that you're doing functionally, by day 3, you're actually, able to do all of those things. You can, get your shower and get your teeth brushed, and where all that stuff is, and you're, taking care of those things. Day 4 and 5, you can do the living room and your everyday rooms, places where that you're going to sit all the time. And when we say do that, like I'm talking about hang art and make it feel like a room. Yeah. The furniture is probably going to be put where it needs to be from the movers, but then how are you going to make that room feel like it's home, right? Yeah. And then day 6, you can take a break if you want to. Give yourself a reward, have a little meal out or do something like that, or you can keep on moving. And then day 7 and forward is just one project. So whatever that is, if that's now you're setting up a craft room, or if whatever the other rooms are, if you have a guest room, whatever those rooms, an office, you can start setting up those rooms. And if that sounds like, oh my gosh, that's going to take too many days, again, we have people who can do this, that's their job. They will come in, they will hang your artwork, they will, unpack the kitchen, they will put it in a great, flow, they will do all those things. So if that's something that fits into your budget and is something that you think you would want to make home sooner, faster, there are people who can do that, and let us know. We can help you with that.
Yeah, and give yourself that grace when you prioritize it like this. You are able to live in the space, but go at a little slower pace than feeling like you need to be fully unpacked on day 2. It takes longer than you think. We all underestimate. We've been in our house for 5 months now, maybe 6 months. I don't know, but we're just finishing unpacking the final boxes that we had put in the guest room just as the non-priority and that's okay. Just take that time, but be able to live by doing those important things first. Be able to have your space.
I mean, honestly, life happens too. So like when we bought our house, and then my mom got sick, and so I didn't actually do a lot of things to make the house feel homey. And it took me years. I'm not even fully there yet, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's been, years since my mom passed away. And so, that flow of how I would have done it just totally got stopped and then didn't really get started again. And so give yourself that, time to just get it, do it, but do it. Don't leave the boxes sitting there for 6 months, and, just every day, just kind of get that happening so that it does feel like home, and it doesn't feel like you're just kind of have now moved into some kind of transitional place that doesn't feel homey to you.
Yeah, you'll feel settled so much sooner and have less stress if you can just be making progress daily and starting with the highest priority and the surroundings that you are seeing. But don't just shut the door and forget about the tucked away spots either. Yep.
And if you find that you have brought too much stuff because, that plan didn't happen pre-moving, or you thought, I can fit all this and I can't, reassess. Start listening to some of our other podcasts about what you can let go of, and create a place that's peaceful for you and that you really enjoy being in, because that was the whole point of it in the beginning, is that you wanted, that it was too much and it felt overwhelming. So don't now cram yourself into a place with too much stuff and have that feel overwhelming, right? So fix that.
Yeah, it's back to that scheduling a donation pickup.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so many of our clients, and myself included, we found after we moved, we've been to the donation drop-off several times after we moved, like, oh, no, we didn't actually need this, or we packed too much. And we have lots of clients that just brought too much and they're not feeling settled yet months later. And so there's nothing wrong with having that donation drop off already on the schedule at your new place or pickup, and just start setting a pile as you unpack on those why did I bring this questions, and just set them aside and let them get picked up and moved out of your space.
Yeah. So 10 ways that you can make your move easier. Some of them are little and just things that aren't going to be on a regular moving list of things to do, but they will make your life a lot easier if you follow this path. So
Yeah, if we can help you with that strategy for your own timeline and your own situation, please reach out to us and we can help build these steps in for you with any resources that you need or a plan that makes sense for you. Our website, downsizingroadmap.com, or if you're ready for some extra help, downsizingroadmap.com/help, and we'll connect you with all of the resources we have to make it easier.
Yeah, and if you're just getting started and you want a guide for our 5-step process, we have that for free. It's downsizingroadmap.com / I can't get it.
Talking about kitchen backsplashes too often.
You all know what I mean.
Yes. /guide. All of it available on our website. Just reach out if you need any of those pieces, and they're in the links in the show notes as well.
All right. Good to talk to you.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on the Downsizing Roadmap podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who might need a little downsizing inspiration. Have questions or ideas for future episodes? Reach out to us on our website, www.downsizingroadmap.com. Until next time, let's keep simplifying and moving forward.